I felt very resigned. Like, I guess this is just what happens. I guess I'm just going to feel uncomfortable in my clothes. I guess I'm just going to feel tired all the time.
This was my client, Emily. She's 45, busy podcaster, business owner, and she was trying her best to lose weight. She was eating clean, she was exercising, taking a lot of supplements, but instead of losing weight, she was gaining weight. Here's what changed.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty helpless. I'm 45, going to be 46 here in a couple months. And I just noticed like I kept doing the same things and definitely was not getting the same results. I really felt like day to day I was completely underwater and I didn't know why. It was like I could sleep fine, but then I woke up and I just was kind of foggy and kind of irritable, very low energy. It wasn't just like the 3 p.m. energy dip, it was just kind of low energy throughout the day.
Mhm.
And I had progressively, probably over the past like 2 or 3 years, had kept gaining weight. And I just didn't understand why because I didn't feel like I was doing anything much differently when it came to movement or nutrition.
Yeah.
And it was very upsetting and just I would just was like, "Well, I guess that this is what the mid-40s are." I just so desperately wanted something to change, and I felt like things were just gonna keep declining if I didn't do anything.
Here's a pattern I see for almost every woman over 40 who comes to work with me. They're doing more exercise, more supplements, more restriction, and their body is fighting back harder. And Emily was no different.
And you weren't not doing anything, right?
Yeah, my supplements were a bit out of control. And also, when it came to exercise, it was like I had always been fairly active. But again, I just thought, well, I have to kind of continue with this level of intensity
Right.
because if I'm gaining weight, oh my gosh, that means I'm going to have to do more and more and more. And then your message is really like, no, that actually is probably hurting you more than it's helping you.
The turning point for Emily, it wasn't more restriction, it was more data, blood work, hair tissue analysis, and one discovery that completely changed everything. Something she was about to make worse without even knowing it.
I've been taking birth control due to like emotional issues from my cycle. And it was like, oh, well, because you're not having your menses like every month, your body is holding on to iron. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking? I'd
Yeah.
always been anemic. And I was like, wait, what? And so turns out my body had too much iron. And then the supplement that I was taking probably had iron in it. And it was one of those things like until you do your blood work and do in-depth blood work, you have no idea. Like you have
Yeah.
no idea what is behind some of these issues. We streamlined the supplements to the
Yeah.
things that my body actually needed. What a concept. And we knew that my body actually needed it because we did the blood work and the hair tissue analysis
Yeah.
beforehand. And the thing that really attracted me the most to you was that it was an individual approach. It wasn't throwing spaghetti at the wall. I was just thinking as I was preparing for this conversation, if I went to my doctor and I have a herniated disc in my neck right now, so I had MRI. When you go to your doctor, you want to have this like personalized, individualized plan for
Yeah.
your healing. So why should we go about it differently when it comes to our health?
So this was a health self-assessment that you did when you first joined. And we checked in on energy. It was a 5 and a 4. Your sleep was an 8. Your digestion was between a 3 and a 6. Bowel movements were not consistent. Resiliency 4 or 5, 6. And this is the beauty of when you give the body what it needs, it just responds so beautifully, right? So now your energy, and this was 3 months out, was an 8 consistently. I'm not having energy dips in the afternoon on most days. Your sleep was now a 9. I always slept well, but now it's very consistent, the sleeping well. Your digestion improved. Bowel movements now were a 10. They got to an ideal, 4 on a Bristol stool chart. And this is my favorite part of it. You said, I don't feel like I'm underwater anymore. And I think you said this too. I think it's because I stopped taking supplements that I didn't realize were impacting me.
The results were that energy wise, my energy is much better. The supplements I'm taking, I feel like are actually supporting the things that I need them to support. And then weight loss wise, over the 6-month program, and it was not a linear thing. It was not like every week it was like, oh, I was losing exactly what I thought or what I wanted to. But it ended up being over 20 pounds, which was
Amazing.
exactly what I was hoping for. And my clothes, fitting better. Also, when it came to movement, I was exploring more gentle movement, like walking or like Pilates, those types of things. And I felt better as far as I didn't feel so like worn out and tired from some of the, things I had been doing. And I also just appreciated that I do not feel the least bit restricted. Your program, it is fixing the root metabolic issues through a personalized approach that is gentle, that is filled with like self-compassion, where we're learning these mindset things that are really helping us. And so I've never felt deprived because it's not that there's certain foods I can and can't have. And I don't berate myself when I make choices that are not ideal. So it's helped with my self-compassion. That in and of itself was a huge gift.
Emily didn't start eating less. She didn't add more strenuous exercise. She didn't add more supplements. She fixed her root metabolic and nutritional imbalances. And her body finally started working with her instead of against her. And this is exactly what I do with every single client who works with me through Metabolic Mastery for women over 40. Look, if her story resonated with you, I'd love for you to join my free community. I send weekly emails, you get recipes, whatever it is that I'm offering to my community, you get first dibs. The link is below, and I'll see you on the next episode.